You know the difference between me and most Tampa fans? I don't get to enjoy Florida weather. I get to enjoy what's going on out there. February weather in Britain. It's storm after storm, and then maybe just torrential rain if you're lucky. Hello, welcome back to another Bolts Analysis. I'm your host Chris as we look at the Tampa Bay Lightning and the rest of the NHL. We kind of ended as a slightly weird phase where we're not on an All-Star break, and yet it feels like forever since we last played. It hasn't been that long, it was Monday night. But we are playing tonight against the Vegas Golden Knights. But before we get into that, we have had quite a bit of movement around us, even though there were only two Atlantic teams playing last night. But it was definitely a significant night. Above us, the gap has increased to 3 points because the Boston Bruins went over to Edmonton and won 2-1 in overtime. They're good. It's annoying, but they're good. There's not a lot we can do about that until we play them. I think the thing that worries me as a rival is just the fact that sort of there doesn't seem to be a weakness to Boston at the moment. They have skill, they have physicality. All four lines seem to be putting in the effort. They have two very good goalies, and they had David Pastrnak. And I watched, the highlights of Boston-Edmonton, and to this day, I still do not know how the Edmonton Oilers, or why the Edmonton Oilers thought it was a good idea to leave Pastrnak alone on a breakaway in overtime. And that is only going to end one way. So, that's the movement above us. And the movement below us is possibly even more significant because we have a new potential first-round opponent. It ain't Toronto. Sorry, boys, but if you're going to keep losing 5-2 to teams in the Eastern Conference, someone's going to catch you. And someone has caught them. It's the Florida Panthers, who won 4-1 in Anaheim against the Anaheim Ducks. And watched all the highlights of this one, and yeah, good. That's the Florida Panthers we've come to know and sort of be slightly concerned about how good they're getting. Much better. Bobrovsky, much better. Made the saves when he needed to, because the Ducks weren't bad in this game. I feel like recently the Ducks have actually showed some spirit and are actually pulling off, some decent results. That 5-1 in Vancouver, I don't think anyone saw that one coming. And they sort of gave Calgary a bit of a fright before eventually collapsing and losing 6-4. Tricky game for Florida, but they came through it, and some of the goals were very good. Huberdeau and Barkov seemed to be sort of clicking back into gear. Trochek's goal to make it 2-1 was fantastic. Brilliant hand-to-eye coordination. Get that man a baseball contract when the season's done. Excellent goal. It was kind of one of those ones where you looked at it and thought, is that a high stick? No, he just, he had it below the crossbar, but it's just a very good finish. And I liked how Florida realised that sort of goal came as a result of hitting it off the end boards and the Ducks weren't ready, so they went, we'll do that again. And it worked. It was a different goal. It came from the other side, and it certainly wasn't a baseball bat type of shot, but it still had the trick of basically completely fooling John Gibson, who had no idea where it was. And that made it 3-1. And then even the empty netter, that had venom. It's not often you see someone sort of hitting the empty netter with that much force. Normally you can just chip it or deke it, or you sort of take your time, you tap it in. That was not a tap in. That had, you're hitting the empty netters with that much venom. Good thing there wasn't a goalie in the way, or someone trying to block it. So that means that the Florida Panthers are now third, admittedly only just. They are level on points with Toronto, but I feel like this could be a turning point because Toronto's first opportunity to get back into third is tonight. It's against the Pittsburgh Penguins, who they played on Tuesday night and lost pretty badly. It was only when it was 5-0 that the Maple Leafs actually got going. They can't do that again tonight, but I don't hold out a lot of hope for a team that at home seems to let in goals very early in any period you can care to name, and a team that lets in 3 goals in a minute and a half against Buffalo, who, then went on to lose 7-4 to Ottawa. So, every stat you look at the moment with Toronto, it makes pretty grim reading. But they have to win. They have to beat Pittsburgh, because if they don't, then they lose ground. I think Toronto have to treat it, every game now as being like, right, well, we either need to get third or we need to have enough points on the board that if we can't get third, we get one of the wild cards. Which is possible, because there are definitely other teams other than Toronto who are having a bit of a nightmare. Case in point, New York Islanders. Road trip from hell. Lost 3-1 against the Colorado Avalanche last night. That's 4 losses out of 4 and not even a single point to show for it. They've all been in regulation. And isn't it a good thing for the Islanders that their next game is 1 at home and 2 against Detroit? That's what you need after a road trip like that. But I don't know. I don't know how the confidence is, and it might get worse. Imagine if they lose to Detroit. That'd be 5 games in a row. 5 losses, and not the time to be doing it, Islanders, especially as tonight. Philly and Columbus meet again at Columbus, and Columbus only need a point, and they'll go above you. Islanders go out of the wildcard race. It looks even grimmer than it already is. Troubling times for any team that's had a guy called John Tavares in their lineup at any particular moment. So I guess for us, it's just the fact that if we end up facing the Florida Panthers, that's something to look at. If we end up facing Toronto, whoever it is, we just need to focus on what we're doing. We've got Vegas tonight. It's the chance to get a 12-game winning streak, extend the franchise record. It's not going to be easy. Vegas are good, third in the Pacific. They're looking to see how high up they can finish. They could easily take first. That's the nature of the Pacific at the moment. They are dangerous. They beat the Washington Capitals earlier in the week. So I'm expecting a difficult game. But if we show the physicality and the spirit that we've been showing in recent games, particularly as we did against Colorado, I think we'll be fine. But that is it from me. Thank you very much for watching. This has been another Bolts Analysis. And remember, the Cats are back. And they might be here to stay.